Tree of Savior is ramping up to its second English beta, Rift introduces a new zone and class to match, Dragon's Prophet is unfortunately counting down its last days in North America, and Tera decided to improve the new player experience. What's happening, guys? James Blonde here with MMOHuts.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements for the week ending October 12th, 2015. We've got plenty of content updates and announcements for all kinds of MMOs this week, starting with a Summoner class overview video for Blade and Soul. And yes, as you can see, this is the Lolly with a cat summon we're talking about here. The majority of the summoner skills are control focused, keeping enemies rooted in place, only to be ripped to shreds by their cute and cuddly companion. But seeing that the summoner is a bit more squishy in regards to damage than their feline friend, they also have defensive skills that allow for quick escapes if they ever seem to get caught. The new overview video here goes over the role pretty nicely, so check that out for more information. And remember, the closed beta is actually starting on the 30th for North American servers, and they're not at all region blocked, so yeah, that's great if you don't mind a little lag. Keys may be a little hard to come by at first without buying a Founders Pack, of course, but keep an eye out at the giveaway section at MMOHuts.com because who knows when we'll have some in. Another game we're pretty much all excited for is Tree of Savior, and the news that came in this past week was the announcement that the second English closed beta test will open up sometime this October, although we still don't have an exact date or time just yet. The nice part is testers can expect the beta to last about a month, which is definitely longer than the first beta test for sure. On top of that, they're inviting 5,000 more testers this time around, so be sure to sign up if for some reason you haven't already. The new trailer you see playing here is a class introduction video from Nexon Japan in celebration for the upcoming beta. Be sure to keep you guys posted at MMOHuts.com about any further details that come available. Next up, we've got a couple of newly announced Western titles going into closed beta soon, both published by Webzen, actually. First up is ELOA. Some of you know it by its unofficial Western version, In Spirit Online. It's firing up its first beta test starting this week, October 13th, tomorrow actually. Like I've mentioned in the past, ELOA stands for Elite Lord of Alliance, and this game is an anime-style hack-and-slash MMORPG where players can switch between 3 different stances, weapons, and skill sets during combat. It also features the classic action RPG controls with an isometric perspective, so it seems to be set up kind of like Devilian, honestly. Registration for the game has already been up for a week or so now, and it seems fairly easy to get in, so keep a lookout for a first look coming soon. Likewise, Hasta la Vista, baby, is headed into beta a few weeks from now. As much as I want it to be otherwise, it's just called ASTA, the War of Tears and Winds. It's kind of a long name. Access to the initial beta will not be restricted, meaning open beta, no key required. So starting on November 3rd, anyone who signs up for or already has a Webzen account will be able to play. Now personally, this one doesn't strike me as one to actually look forward to. No offense. It's set in a fantasy world inspired by Asian myths and legends, focuses on suspenseful storylines and quests, crafting, and special professions, bringing back some of the most popular features found in the most beloved classic MMOs. See, that to me means generic, unfortunately. It's been coined the Asian World of Warcraft, so I suppose we'll have to check it out, and it seems like we can do that starting on November 3rd. Also, just around the corner, beta-wise, is Dragomon Hunter. This past week, Area Games released a new teaser trailer for the English version of the game, indicating that you can still play the game with the original Japanese voices, which also happen to be some very popular anime voice actors. Some of you guys might like that. Besides that, Dragomon Hunter's beta starts up on October 15th. Be sure to mark your calendars. It's a closed beta, so you'll have to have a key to get in, or, of course, buy a Founders Pack, like all MMOs today. But I have a feeling we'll be getting some beta keys for this game sooner or later, so keep an eye out at the giveaway section as well. And speaking of dragon-like Pokemon creatures, or I guess just dragons in general, Daybreak Games announced this past week that it will be shutting down service for Dragon's Prophet in North America on November 16th. Seems like it wasn't ever popular enough, really. I mean, I remember the announcement being really cool, but then it kind of died down right after that. Prices in the cash shop will be lowered starting now until the servers go dead. Wait a minute, you'd think they'd make this stuff free seeing that the game is about to close down. That's not greedy at all. Now, I can't say I did enjoy chatting with the developers about this game back in its day, but started to wonder after there were fewer and fewer announcements made where it was going to go. And on that note, Daybreak Games also promoted a new executive creative director for all of its games, Jens Andersen. Some of you guys know him as the senior creative director for DC Universe Online. He's a really cool guy to hang out with. I always make sure that I say hi to him whenever I see him at gaming events. Jens will now be overseeing the creative development of all the Daybreak game titles, including an unannounced title already in development. And no, he had nothing to do with shutting down Dragon's Prophet, in case you were wondering. But this new unannounced title might have. No, I'm just saying. Really curious to what it is now. Like I mentioned from the start, a couple of content updates for several MMORPGs in the works, including Cabal 2. Last week, EST Soft revealed details for its latest content update, available this week on October 14th. The Ruins of the Gods update features an all-new zone called Grey Canyon for gamers at level 40 and above to explore, along with additional dungeons and a level cap increase to 45. The new content overview video you see playing here goes over the new area in detail, but this update is supposed to open up a distinctly different gaming experience for level 40 players due to the new area and access to 3 new dungeons that push you towards the new level cap. Check out the Dev Diary video and more information about the new update at the site post at MMOHuts.com. Next up, Tera has a new update coming out tomorrow, October 13th. Kind of out of the blue there. According to the official post, this new update, known as the Lost Isle, will revamp the new player experience and combine that with an improved and more functional character creation system. It'll actually speed up the process for leveling from 1 to 11, replacing the Island of Dawn, and at the same time it has something nice for players returning to the game that haven't been there in a while, with characters between levels 58 and 65. These players will receive a returning hero tab, easing them back into the memories of their old skill bar and assisting in getting their gear up to date to stay competitive. In addition, this update gives non-max level PvPers a new battleground called the Gridiron Academy, which is basically a level 40 to 64 version of the level 65 Gridiron Battleground. Like I started to mention, this new update revamps the character creation and character selection screen, allowing players to now mix and match races and classes on a single screen, with a little more dramatic flair, of course. Plenty more details at the site post at MMOHuts.com, and check out the giveaway section as soon as possible. We'll have some Halloween-themed mounts and more for you guys. On a similar note, Rift released a new update this past week, introducing a new class and a new zone to match. In Update 3.4 Into the Wilds, we see the new Primalist class that comes with a choice of 6 spirits to choose from that further defines your role in the battlefield. These choices range from Titan, which will lean you more towards the tanking style of play, and the Preserver, which will help you become a healer, which is really important when you're dealing with a place like the Plain-Touch Wilds. This is the new zone where rules of reality seem to be iffy at best. Floating landmasses, giant rhino prints, and running into 6-eyed T-Rexes are sort of the norm here. The 2 major features of this update definitely go hand in hand pretty well. You're gonna need a wild man for a wild area. It's just sort of how it goes. We've got more detailed information about the features available in the new update. These are just a few. At the site post link in the description below, and we've also got a couple of mounts to give you guys early on this week at the giveaway section. So again, keep your eye out. Also this past week, Obsidian Entertainment released a new trailer featuring Distortions in Skyforge. This is not a showcase of errors in the game. These Distortions are Pantheon-exclusive activities that pit 10 players against ancient, battle-hardened invaders, which have been locked away for centuries. Of course, after a Pantheon acquires a Distortion Analyzer, they're capable of searching for these distortions across Aelion. These come in a variety of threat levels, and as you expect, the higher the threat, the better the rewards. Gotta admit though, the new trailer is pretty cool. Ever want to draw upon the life force of your enemies only to turn it into a shield that protects you from damage? In Nosgoth, of course. Well, now you can, with the new Deathly Shield ability, brought to you by the Summoner class. Besides that, Nosgoth is already into its 2nd League beta with a $10,000 prize pool this time around, so it's getting really competitive really fast. And finally, for our last bit of news, just barely missing last week's recap, Smite introduced Sol, Goddess of the Sun. Watch out, Ra, this chick is on fire. Literally. Similar to Ra, Sol is a powerful mage whose passive allows her to gain slight magical power and attack speed as she builds up heat by using abilities and landing her basic attacks. Now, this magical power and attack speed gain is really small, but it can build up really fast. So when it reaches 100%, her basic attack is actually sitting at plus 50% damage. Now the nice part is she has a nice variety of AoE abilities, and her third ability gives her the opportunity to become immune to everything. Not to mention, let her get the heck out of dodge. I've got to admit, her ulti is also really cool, calling upon 8 solar strikes that you can sort of paint along the ground, almost like AMC's Honey. Besides all that, some of you may have already noticed Smite picking up the Halloween spirit with the arena map. It's kind of subtle, but cool, no doubt. The zombie minions are a nice touch. Seems like there's going to be an even bigger announcement come Halloween Day. Looking forward to that. Anyway, guys, that's about it for all the major MMO news and announcements for this week. Like always, if you're looking for more information about the news topics featured in the recap, check the links in the description below or head over to MMOHuts.com for plenty of up-to-date MMO news. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below or head over to MMOHuts.com/forums. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.